You are the fountain of knowledge, the dwelling place of holiness, and the summit of glory. Eternal might and majesty are yours. I will choose whatever you teach me, gladly accepting your judgments. As soon as I move my hands and feet, I will praise your name. When I go out and when I come in, when I lie down and when I rise up. When I rest on my bed, I will sing your praise, and in the company of my friends, I will praise you with the words of my mouth. Shir Ushvacha, Hallel v'Zimra, Barachot v'Hodaot, Me'ata v'Adolam. Baruch atah Adonai, Adonai v'Shirei Zimra. And we continue on page 135, 135. Baruch et Adonai Hamavorach. Baruch Adonai Hamavorach. Praise you, Eternal One, our God, Sovereign of the universe, Maker of light and Creator of darkness, Author of peace and Creator of all things. In your mercy you give life to the earth and all who live on it, and in your goodness you renew creation continually, day by day. And manifold are your works, O God, with wisdom have you made them all. The world is full of your creations. Your handiwork proclaims your praise. The radiant stars bear witness to your glory.
We praise you, O God, Creator of light.
Great is your love for us, Eternal God, and abundant your compassion. Our ancestors trusted in you, and you taught them the laws of life. So be gracious to us and teach us. Incline our hearts to hear your words, to know and understand, to learn and teach, and with love to uphold the truths of your Torah. Enlighten us with your teaching, make us faithful to your commandments, and wholehearted in the love and awe of your name. love you, summon us to serve you and proclaim your unity. We
Praise you, O God. In love you have called your people Israel to serve you.
Shema
Israel, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Good and beautiful and true, sound, established and enduring are these words now and forever. True it is, eternal one, that you are our sovereign God and Redeemer, as you were the God and Redeemer of our ancestors. You are our Maker, the rock of our salvation. We have known you always as our helper and our liberator. There is no God but you. Truly you are first and you are last. We have no Redeemer but you. You redeemed us from Egypt and freed us from the house of bondage. Then, with great joy, Moses, Miriam, and all Israel together sang to you this song. Song the redeemed sang to your name at the shore of the sea. With one accord they gave thanks and proclaimed your sovereignty. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Eloheinu Mosaic Elohei Abraham Elohei Yitzchak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel Elohei Lea Ha'el HaGadol HaGidor HaNorah El
השמש ומאיר התאו. והחוקר חיים בחסד, וחיי מתים ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, וקייהם ומחתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבולות, ומי ידמך, מלך ממיט וחיי מצמיח ישועה. ונאמן אתה לחיות מתים, ברוך אתה אדוני, וחיי המתים.
נחדש את שמך בעולם כשם שמקדישים אותו בשם מרום, ככתוב על יד נביאך.
קדוש, קדוש, קדוש אדוני צבאות, מלוך כל הארץ כבודו.
כבודו מלא עולם.
ברוך כבוד אדוני,
נמקומך מלכנו תופיע ותמלוך עלינו כי מחכים אנחנו לה.
ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהי ציון, לדור ודור, הללויה.
לדור ודור נגיד גדלך ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש. ושבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד.
ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
You inspired our ancestors to hallow this day for your service. When upon its coming we pause to contemplate our life, we learn anew that we do not live by bread alone, but also by the spiritual nourishment we receive when we open ourselves to your influence. We thank you for the Sabbath day and for the opportunity it offers to enhance the quality of our lives. We thank you for its joy and for its peace. May our worship help us to take into our hearts its message of holiness and consecrate all our days by devotion to what is true, beautiful, and good. Sanctify us by your commandments and make us loyal to your teaching. Satisfy us with your goodness, gladden us with your salvation, and purify our hearts to serve you in truth. In your gracious love, Eternal One, let the holiness of your Sabbath enter our hearts, and may all Israel who hallow your name be exalted by its peace.
Praise your God for the holiness of the Sabbath.
Eternal God, be gracious to your people Israel, and in your love accept their prayers. May our worship worship now and always be acceptable in your sight.
We praise you, O God, whom alone we worship in reverence.
Modi Manakula, Sha'atahu Adonai Agenu Elohea Otenu Yolam Vaed, Sur Chayenu Magein Yishenu, Atahu Ador Ador, Nodel Chavus Apeti Atecha, Al Chayenu Hamsurim Atecha, Baal Nishmotenu Apdor Hara, Baal Zecha Shelochol Yom Imanu, Baal Nifrotecha V'Tovatecha, Shelochol Eich Erev Avoker Tzatorai, Baruch Atah Adonai, Ator Shimcha U'Lacham Ha'er Odot. Grant peace, welfare and blessing, grace, love and mercy to us and to all Israel, your people. As a loving parent, bless us with the light of your presence, for by the light of your presence, eternal God, you have revealed to us the law of life, a love of kindness and righteousness, blessing and mercy, life and peace. For it is good in your sight that your people Israel and all peoples be blessed at all times with your gift of peace.
We praise you, O God, the source of peace.
Service for omnipresence, which you will find on page 206. 206.
Moses looked, and the bush was aflame, yet it was not consumed. Then God called to him out of the bush, "Moses, Moses," and he said, "Here I am." Why did the Holy One choose to speak to Moses out of the bush? To teach us that there is no place without the divine presence, not even the thorn bush. Days pass and years vanish, and we walk sightless among miracles. Eternal God, fill our eyes with seeing and our minds with knowing. Let there be moments when the lightning of your presence illuminates the darkness in which we walk. Help us to see, wherever we glaze, that the bush burns unconsumed. And we, clay touched by God, will reach out for holiness and exclaim in wonder,
"Surely God is in this place, and I did not know it."
Eternal God, you search me and know me.
You know my sitting down and my standing up.
You understand my thought from afar.
You observe my walking and reclining, and are familiar with all my ways.
Where can I go from your spirit?
Where can I flee from your presence?
If I ascend to heaven, you are there. If I lie down in the lowest depths and dwell on the ocean's farthest shore,
even there your hand will lead me, your strong hand will hold me fast.
If I say, surely darkness will conceal me and the light around me become night,
even the darkness is not dark to you, but the night is bright as the day.
If you'd like to do the meditation silently and join up with the all reading at the end. O God,
Where shall I find you? Your place is hidden and high. Where shall I not find you? Your glory fills all space.
Now we turn to page 481 for our Torah service, 481. There is none like you, Eternal One, among the people of God's people worship, and there are no deeds like yours. Your sovereignty is everlasting, your reign endures from age to age. Eternal One, you reign, you have reigned, you will reign forever. Eternal God, give strength to your people. Eternal God, bless your people with peace. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Hear, O Israel, the Eternal One is our God, the Eternal God is one. Gadlul Adonai Iti U'Ramamai Shemo Yachtav. Let us magnify the Eternal One. Together, let us exalt God's name.
Oh, sorry, I'm
The heart of
sorry.
Sorry?
That's it, that's it. I'll look, yeah.
That's blessings before the Chazan.
Are they?
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
Sorry.
Any birthdays? December? November, who forgot? January, who? We're nearly there. Any, no birthday blessing?
How about, Paul, if someone just wants a blessing?
Yes. Any non-birthday blessings?
Oh, and we got the chalice out.
Come on. No.
That's a January.
That's it. All right.
Come on.
Go and get a blessing. That's in anticipation of your birthday, which we'll try to celebrate with due style. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, shehechi yanu Amen. Amen. Okay.
Shalom. Our Torah reading this morning is Shemot, which is from the beginning of the book of Exodus. And we're going to be reading from the beginning of Exodus chapter 3. At this stage in the narrative, Moses has had to flee to Midian because he's inadvertently killed an Egyptian. And so he's been living in Midian for a while. He's got a wife, Zipporah, and they've had a son, Gershom. And at this point, the children of Israel are suffering hugely under slavery. They call out to God, and God hears their voice. So it's the beginning of Exodus chapter 3, and in English it's in the Tanakh on page 116, and in Hebrew it's in the Chumash on page 328. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam. Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Ha'anim V'natan Lanu Et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah. Now Moses, tending the flock of his father-in-law Jethro, the priest of Midian, drove the flock into the wilderness and came to Horeb, the mountain of God. An angel of the Lord appeared to him in a blazing fire out of the bush. He gazed, and there was a bush all aflame, yet the bush was not consumed. Moses said, I must turn aside to look at this marvelous sight. Why doesn't the bush burn up? When the Lord saw that he had turned aside to look, God called to him out of the bush, Moses, Moses. He answered, Here I am. And he said, Do not come closer. Remove your sandals from your feet, for the place on which you stand is holy ground. I am, he said, the God of your father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. And Moses hid his face, for he was afraid to look at God. And the Lord continued, I have marked well the plight of my people in Egypt, and have heeded their outcry because of their taskmasters. Yes, I am mindful of their sufferings. I have come down to rescue them from the Egyptians, and to bring them out of that land to a good and spacious land, a land flowing with milk and honey, the region of the Canaanites, the Hittites, the Amorites, the Perizzites, the Hivites, and the Jebusites. Now the cry of the Israelites has reached me. Moreover, I have seen how the Egyptians oppressed them. Come therefore, I will send you to Pharaoh, and you shall free my people, the Israelites, from Egypt. But Moses said to God, Who am I that I should go to Pharaoh and free the Israelites from Egypt? And he said, I will be with you. That shall be your sign that it was I who sent you. And when you have freed the people from Egypt, you shall worship God at this mountain. Moses said to God, When I come to the Israelites and say to them, The God of your fathers has sent me to you, and they ask me, What is his name? What shall I say to them? And God said to Moses, Ehyeh asher ehyeh. He continued, Thus shall you say to the Israelites, Ehyeh sent me to you. And God said further to Moses, Thus shall you speak to the Israelites, The Lord, the God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, has sent me to you. This shall be my name forever, this my appellation for all eternity. Moshe haya ro'eh et son Yitro chotno kohen Midian v'yinhag et hatzon achar midbar v'yavo el har Elohim choreva v'yera malach Adonai alav v'labat eish mitoch hasaneh v'yar v'hine hasaneh bo'er ba'eish v'hasaneh eineno ukav ויאמר משה אסורה נא ואראה את המראה הגדול הזה. מדוע לא יבער הסנה? וירא אדוני כי שר לראות, ויקרא אליו אלוהים מתוך הסנה. ויאמר משה משה. ויאמר הנני. ויאמר אל תקרב הלום, של נעליך מעל רגליך, כי המקום אשר אתה עומד עליו אדמת קודש הוא. ויאמר אנוכי אלוהי אביך, אלוהי אברהם, אלוהי יצחק ואלוהי יעקב. ויסתר משה פניו, כי ירא מהביט אל האלוהים. ויאמר אדוני ראיתי את עוני עמי אשר במצרים, ואת צעקתם שמעתי, מפני נוגסיו כי ידעתי את מכאוביו. וארד להצילו מיד מצרים, ולהעלותו מן הארץ ההיא, אל ארץ טובה ורחבה, אל ארץ זבת חלב ודבש, אל מקום הכנעני והחיתי והאמורי והפריזי והחיבי והיבוסי. ועתה הנה צעקת בני ישראל באה אלי, וגם ראיתי את הלחץ אשר מצרים לוחצים אותם. ועתה לך ואשלחך אל פרעה להוציא את עמי בני ישראל ממצרים. ויאמר משה אל האלוהים, מי אנוכי כי אלך אל פרעה, וכי אוציא את בני ישראל ממצרים? ויאמר, כי אחיה עמך, וזה לך האות, כי אנוכי שלחתיך להוציאך את העם ממצרים. תעבדון את האלוהים על ההר הזה. ויאמר משה אל האלוהים, הנה אנוכי בא אל בני ישראל, ואמרתי להם, אלוהי אבותיכם שלחני עליכם. ואמרו לי, מה שמו? מה אומר עליהם? ויאמר אלוהים אל משה, אחיה אשר אחיה. ויאמר, כה תאמר לבני ישראל, אחיה שלחני עליכם. ויאמר עוד אלוהים אל משה, כה תאמר אל בני ישראל, אדוני אלוהי אבותיכם, אלוהי אברהם, אלוהי יצחק ואלוהי יעקב, שלחני עליכם. זה שמי לעולם, וזה זכרי לדור דור. ברוך אתה אדוני, אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר נתן לנו תורת אמת, וחיי עולם נטע בתוכנו. ברוך אתה אדוני, נותן התורה.
ברוך שנתן תורה לעמו ישראל בקדושתו.
As you can see, I think we might have a new mint out there about how we, yeah, absolutely radical change.
Sorry, I have nothing prepared. This was sprung on me about 3 minutes ago. We're reading from the book of Jeremiah, chapter 1, verses 1 to 10, and in Tanakh it's on page 763. 763. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher achar b'ndiim tovim, Baruch sa v'divreihem, v'ne'emorim v'emet, Baruch atah Adonai, Haboter b'Torah, v'Moshe Rabbeinu, v'Yisrael Amo, v'Vimdiei ha'emet v'tzedek. It's got a lot of names in it, so forgive me. In the words of Jeremiah, son of Hilkiah, one of the priests at Anatot, in the territory of Benjamin, the word of the Lord came to him in the days of King Josiah, son of Ammon of Judah, in the 13th year of his reign, and throughout the days of King Jehoiakim, son of Josiah of Judah, and until the end of the 11th year of King Zedekiah, son of Josiah of Judah, when Jerusalem went into exile in the 5th month. The word of the Lord came to me. Before I created you in the womb, I selected you. Before you were born, I consecrated you. I appointed you a prophet concerning the nations. I replied, Ah, Lord God, I don't know how to speak, for I am still a boy. And the Lord said to me, Do not say, I am still a boy, but go wherever I send you, and speak whatever I command you. Have no fear of them, for I am with you to deliver you, declares the Lord. The Lord put out his hand and touched my mouth, and the Lord said to me, Herewith I put my words into your mouth. See, I appoint you this day over nations and kingdoms, to uproot and to pull down, to destroy and to overthrow, to build and to plant. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asur kol ha'olamim, tzaddik b'kol hadorot, ha'el ha'ne'eman, ha'omer v'yoseh, ha'medaber u'mekayem shekol devarot emet v'tzedek. Al ha'torah v'al ha'avadot, v'al ha'nviyim v'al yom ha'shabbat hazeh, shenotata lanu Adonai Eloheinu, l'kedusha v'limnucha, l'chovod v'l'tifa'aret, al ha'kol Adonai Eloheinu, naknim modim loch, u'mevorakim otoch, yitporah shimcha, lefi kol hai tamid le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'kadosh ha'shabbat.
We continue on page 484. Eternal God, whose dominion embraces the universe, we ask your blessing for our sovereign Lady Queen Elizabeth and all the royal family, for those who govern our country and all who influence the quality of its national life. Make them conscious of their responsibility and teach them to exercise it in accordance with your will. May we all help to fashion in this country a society that excels in freedom, justice, tolerance and compassion, so that it may be a force for righteousness and peace in the life of humanity. Eternal God, as you blessed our ancestors in generations past, bless now this congregation, its leaders and its members, and all who enter this synagogue to meet, to study, and to pray. Comfort the sorrowing hearts among us, and heal those in anxiety or pain. And anybody that we would like to remember, Mike, Solomon, obviously, any others who would. May we all find here a community and friendship, renewal of purpose and hope, a deeper understanding of our heritage, and a sense of your abiding presence. Bless all congregations of the House of Israel throughout the world. Let those who live under oppressive rule soon be freed, and may we all unite to witness to your truth and do your will. Eternal God, our rock and redeemer, grant blessing to the state of Israel, created to fulfill an age-old dream and to be a haven for the oppressed. Inspire its leaders and citizens with faithfulness to the aims of its founders, to develop the land for the benefit of all its inhabitants, and to implement the prophetic ideals of liberty and justice. May they live in harmony with one another and in peace with their neighbours, and cause to come true once more the ancient vision that out of Zion shall go forth Torah and the word of God from Jerusalem. Yehalelu et Shem Adonai Adonai ki mitzgav shemo lavado. Let us praise the Eternal One, whose name alone is exalted. God's teaching is perfect,
reviving the soul.
God's word is unfailing,
Making wise the simple.
God's precepts are right,
Delighting the mind.
God's commandments are clear,
Enlightening the eyes.
God's doctrine is pure,
Enduring forever.
God's guidance is true.
And altogether just.
Behold, a good doctrine has been given you, do not forsake it. It is a tree of life to those who hold it fast, and all who cling to it find happiness. Its ways are ways of pleasantness, and all its paths are peace. With this week's parasha, Shemot, we leave the first book of the Torah, Bereshit or Genesis, and enter into the second book, Shemot or Exodus. Bereshit starts with the creation and then contains the stories or ancient myths of our first ancestors, Noah and then the patriarchs, Abraham, Isaac and Jacob. It closes with the lengthy story of Jacob's son Joseph, including his trials and tribulations, until his fortunes are restored and he becomes a senior minister to the Pharaoh in Egypt. In that way, he provides a safe haven in Egypt for his father and brothers when they are driven from the land of Canaan by a severe famine. It might seem that the development of the Hebrew nation in the land of Canaan has been concluded, but of course this is merely a pause in that development. With the opening of Shemot, there is a sharp change of gear in the narrative. The parasha is called Shemot, names, after the second word in chapter 1, where all the children of Jacob are named. We are told that the whole of that generation died while the children of Israel increased mightily and multiplied, until they were seen as a threat to the native Egyptians. There arose a new king in Egypt who did not know Joseph, and he inaugurated a program of restrictive afflictions to keep these foreigners under control. We read of the birth of Moses and how he was hidden in the bulrushes by the river to save him from being killed along with other Hebrew babies. The baby is discovered by an Egyptian princess and brought up in secret. One day he sees an Egyptian mistreating a Hebrew and he kills the Egyptian and then flees into the desert to avoid punishment. This might seem to be a continuation of the family and tribal stories which we saw in Bereshit. But what happens next, as recounted in the passage we heard this morning, takes the story to a different level. While Moses is watching the flocks of his father-in-law, Jethro, an angel of the Lord appeared to him in a flame of fire in the midst of a bush, which was burning but not consumed. Moses turned aside to look at the bush, and God called to him out of the bush. What Moses initially thought was an angel speaking to him turned out to be God himself, telling Moses that God intends to rescue the children of Israel from the Egyptians and to send them back to Canaan, now a land flowing with milk and honey, which they will conquer and control as their permanent homeland. Moses says that if he presents himself to the Hebrews with a message from God, the Hebrews will demand to know the name of this God. God replies, "I am that I am," and tells Moses to say to the children of Israel, "I am has sent me unto you." This key passage, the naming of God, is a crucial extension of the naming process which began the parasha in chapter 1. Perhaps we should call the parasha Hashem rather than Shemot, the name rather than names generally. What makes this incident so significant is that it does not deal with the life of a single patriarch, like the instruction to Abraham to sacrifice his son Isaac, but it deals with the saving of the whole nation from Egyptian slavery into a free people in its own land. In Bereshit, God is described as the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. But after the Exodus, the usual description is the God who redeemed us and brought us out of the land of Egypt. It's possible that that form of wording began to be used after the return from the captivity in Babylon in the second half of the 6th century, before the Common Era. Whether or not that is the case, we can see that no other formula was regularly used in the biblical period. We do not see God described as the God of Moses, or David, or Isaiah, or any other biblical figure. The Exodus becomes the key feature in Jewish history and has remained so to this day. We see this most clearly in the celebration of Pesach and the Seder service, but it's a common feature throughout our liturgy. The encounter at the burning bush is therefore the key moment leading to the redemption of the children of Israel from slavery in Egypt. As Moses approaches the burning bush, God calls out his name, Moses, and Moses replies, "Here I am," again recalling the story of the Akedah, the purported sacrifice of Isaac, as recorded in Bereshit chapter 22. God then tells Moses to take off his shoes because the place where he is standing is holy ground. This again is noteworthy. It's common in Eastern religions for people to take off their shoes on entering a holy place, as Muslims do in their mosques today. But this is not an intrinsically holy place. It's only holy because God is there and will not be holy in the future. It is holy because of the religious experience which takes place there. There is then no further reference to the burning bush as the narrative continues with God's instructions to Moses. Moses hesitates in accepting the mission imposed on him. He says that if he goes to the people and says that he's been sent by God, they will ask, "What is God's name?" And he asks what he should reply. God then says, "I am that I am," and says that Moses should tell the people, "I am hath sent me unto you." This mysterious phrase was explained by Rashi as a Talmudic tradition that the repetition of the words "I am" indicated that God would not only save Israel from their present sufferings, but also deliver them from any future troubles. The words imply that as God is one, so Israel should become one united people. There are many differing explanations of the wording, but what is beyond doubt is that this is a defining moment for the people of Israel. In future, they will not only be the children of the patriarchs Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, but will also be a free people redeemed out of slavery. In the Pesach Haggadah, we are reminded of the statement in Exodus chapter 13, verse 8, "You shall tell your son on that day, it was because of this that the Eternal did for me when I came out of Egypt." The act of redemption was not a single incident of significance to those who took part in it, but it is an act of personal significance to every Jew for all time. The prophet Isaiah understood this very well. In chapter 49, verse 6, he states, "God said to me, it is too little a thing for you to be my servant, just to raise up the tribes of Jacob and to bring back the dispersed of Israel. For I have made you a light to the nations, that my salvation may go out to the ends of the earth." What was being rejected was not simply the control of the Jewish people exercised by the Egyptians, but the whole concept of slavery and idolatry which Egypt represented. If there is a single feature of Judaism which is central to its unique importance, it is the total rejection of slavery and idolatry, which we have fought for throughout our history. A few weeks ago, there was an article in the Jewish Chronicle by my least favourite right-wing commentator, Melanie Phillips. She argued that in the long term, the only Jews who would survive would be the strictly Orthodox, what she described as the Yavne principle, after the name of the village where a remnant of Orthodox Jews secluded themselves after the Romans destroyed the Second Temple, in order to keep alive the flame of Judaism. She said that the progressive Jews, with their liberal ideas and fancy theories such as tikkun olam, repairing the world, would all disappear through assimilation. This was followed by an article last week by an academic due to speak at the Limud conference. He claimed that tikkun olam was not a genuine Jewish concept, but a liberal idea imported from elsewhere. Rabbi Laura Jana Klausner, the senior rabbi of the Reform movement, replied to Melanie Phillips in the following week's issue with a letter saying that Judaism was broad enough to cater for a wide range of beliefs, and there was no merit in one group disparaging another. While I fully support Laura's response, I do feel strongly that it is absolutely wrong to deride tikkun olam, the belief that progressive Jews are working to create a better world, and not just to preserve the rules and customs of traditional Judaism. For the last 20 years, I've been closely involved with the development of progressive Judaism in Europe, where there has been a tremendous growth of new communities in areas which could not have been imagined 20 years ago. Of course, there's also growing evidence of assimilation, but I really do not believe that progressive Jews encourage assimilation rather than improve the quality of Jewish life which is on offer. It is exactly what Isaiah said in the quotation I gave earlier. It's too little a thing for you to be my servant just to raise up the tribes of Jacob, for I have made you a light to the nations, that my salvation may go out to the ends of the earth. Gaily he runs on. And now we return to our prayer book.
We have a song.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay.
Far away.
Continuing the kind of hopeful spirit you ended with, this is a song by the great poet Avram Reisman, and it's a sort of song of hope. And the translation is as follows: no matter how far away the time of love and peace, soon it will come, whether sooner or later that time, it's no dream. I hear the song of love and peace, the mighty singing, and every note of the song asserts, the sun has risen. The night is ending, the world's awakening, hope and joy and striving. You hear in the air a voice calls to happiness, to joy, and to life.
Spreit,
Now we continue with the Elenu on page 525 to Please rise. Elenu l'shaber ladon hakol v'tik l'ula l'yotze v'reshit asher shan helkenu l'tefet shemo v'gor Elenu l'hamdi malchuto. Who spread out the heavens and established the earth, whose glory fills the highest heavens, whose might extends throughout all space, who alone is our God, for no other exists, who in truth is our sovereign, for there is none else. As it is written, know then this day and take it to heart. The Eternal One is God in the heavens above and on the earth below. There is no other. Trusting in you, eternal God, we hope soon to behold the glory of your light, when false gods vanish from our hearts and idolatry cease forever. Help us to perfect the world by bringing it under your unchallenged rule. When all who invoke your name relinquish evil and turn to your word. May all who dwell on earth come to know that you every must bend in every tongue for loyalty. Before you let them humble themselves, and to your glorious name let them give honour. Let all submit to your sovereign rule. May that time come soon and last forever. For ultimate sovereignty is yours, and to all eternity you reign in glory. As it is written, the Eternal One shall reign forever. The growing good of the world is partly dependent on unhistoric acts, and that things are not so ill with you and me as they might have been is half owing to the number who lived faithfully the hidden life and rest in unvisited tombs. Even when they are gone, the departed are with us. They inspire us to live as in their higher moments they themselves sought to live. We remember them now. They remain in our hearts. They are a continual blessing. And this week we recall the yahrzeit of Shirley Barder, mother of Michelle Barder and Yvette Barder, Arthur Collins, father of Ron Collins, Hetty Laser Collins, mother of Ron Collins, and Arthur Collins and Charles Solomon Latham. Fanny Freeman, mother of Sheila Freeman, Reuben Friedman, father of Steve Friedman, Stuart Janine, father of Gerard Janine, Benjamin Hart, father of Paul Hart, Carl Steinfeld, grandfather of Gideon Fiegel, and Harry Wyman, father of Sheila Goldman. And just recite the Kiddush together. Yitkadal Yitkadash Shmei Rabbah, Yama Yitvach Yitzei Yomik Malkutei, Chayechol V'Yomechon, Chayechol Beit Yisrael, Ha'olam Zman Karik Yimru, Amen. Yeshmei Rabban Barak Ve'am Yomei Ha'ayah, Yitvarach Yishabach Yit'al Yomam Yitnasei, Yitadar Yitalek Talav Shmei Kusha Beichu, Le'elam Yikol Be'chata Shirata, Tush Be'chata Be'nechemata, Tarimram Be'alma V'Yuru, Amen. Yehi Shalom Rabban Yisrael, V'chaim Aleinu
Imru, Amen. Ose Shalom Iroma, Kuyase Shalom, Aleinu Yal Kol Yisrael, Yal Kol Bnei Adam, Imru, Amen.
And we conclude with the Adonai Lam on page 525.
Janet, at the drop of a hat, getting up and literally, probably less than 2 minutes notice, where I suddenly remembered we didn't have anyone to read Torah, and to conjure all those names so quickly. Well done, Janet, thank you. And to Pam, always lovely to have you here. We don't see enough of you. And beautifully read, as always. Paul, what can I say? Thank you. No, I'm duty bound. It's a really good sermon, and I'm with you. I'm fed up with being invalidated by Orthodox Jews. Really, I love the way you turn the Torah on its head. And yeah, thank you. Kiddush will be at some point in the near future. I'm going to go and check out, because I know that Kathleen's away, so they're probably going to finish early as well. I'll let you know. They're still on the sermon downstairs. They're still on the sermon.
Yeah, I didn't tell you. It seemed like it's very interesting. I don't know. Very well.
What about now?
Thanks, I'm at New Zealand now. We'll be done.
That's interesting.
Yeah, that's right. She used to be. She which we did support some years ago. What we tell you is what they do is they collect wedding orders and restaurants,
carry a lot there.
They go to farms and they can get used produce in the farm. Yeah, of course. Enough of but it was then to table to table, and they changed it to a Hebrew name. You remember table to table?
Shop, corner shop.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
so that's how it changed.
Yeah.
And what I wanted to say was because we were going, we just wanted to check. Or we saw them, perhaps they saw the other way around.
It's the other way around. We went and saw what they did. We helped in the fields. We helped in the factory. The meals, and then we. But they're very well supported by Americans. Yes.
It's like, I said an email yesterday.
The lead person we talked about was here, but the lead person there came in and was Americans over there. He was far more interested in what they had to give rather than our portrait check. So, okay. We will put t-shirts. Yeah.
We can discuss if we.
Vera's got a bunch of ideas.
Vera? Yes.
Yeah.
I need to speak to her about something else anyway, about the lunch time that can take a little while.
Well, how long are they likely to be, Adrian?
At least another 5 minutes.
Right.
This sort of thing is not in quite a while.
Does the camera go in there as well?
Same last.
I know where those go.
I don't know whether that's
When you go into the room,
and he was fine. And he was there last Saturday. It's okay. It's very tired.
the last couple of the last couple.
Hopefully removed. Yeah, that looks very risky. He might lose his fingers. And he was having that done on the 14th. The 15th he has another scan. Those results on the 22nd. And then they'll decide whether he has to go chemo or not.
Where were they? Where did you go?
It's grown so much he can't have radiotherapy. So it's last resort.
Literally, I go to rush to get
He's got a lot on his plate. In the meantime, they're off to the Canaries tomorrow. It's just for a few days.
Oh yes, that's
Yeah, so what I'm going to do, maybe we'll leave it till next. I'll ask Anna what to do with all of this. I'll see her on Tuesday.
Stephen says that
And that can go back here, just protest. Okay, good.
yeah, I couldn't sleep last night. I woke up about 5:30. I was still awake at 5. Because I had to get up at 7. Look, other people are phone us.
Eating liver, things like that, build up.
It's good. So thank you. Right, I'm going downstairs. I shall make myself comfortable and then go and eat. I'm going to take this because I've got to practice what I'm doing. No, I was thinking, I think I can do that until...
So we go down.
I will hold this one.
Well, I'll practice. Next week I'll practice afterwards and see how heavy or not I find it.
The scroll on the right is very light.
Yes.
Now, did you see the way that we
Yeah.
Yes, that's a good
That
idea.
came from last week.
That,
Great
when
idea.
Nathan, just because it's
Yes.
obviously what they do.
Yeah.
and otherwise it's
Brilliant.
And the
so
scales fell from my eye. I thought,
That's the obvious thing.
we're having
Yes,
that.
I agree. The obvious
How
thing.
did we not think of it years ago?
Well, it just makes absolute sense.
Yeah.
After you do that,
Yeah.
and then lay down,
Yeah.
and
So it's all just a Haftarah reader has to know that it'll be a 10
Yes.
20 seconds.
Yeah, sure. No, it's a good idea.
Right.
Yes, again with this.
We're going to ask Hannah about
14th
these.
January. But you
Two
might lose
questions
these
for
ones
Hannah.
then.
Firstly, was there a Haftarah reader
It says
organised?
TBC.
But then he won't.
Was there one organised?
But would she know? Why Hannah? Surely yes. Oh, Hannah does. You're right. Hannah does have to read it.
Yeah.
Sorry. Quite right.
And secondly, where are we going to put all this stuff?
Well, that's where.
Yeah, if Hannah's coming on Saturday next week, so Danny Rich, then maybe she will then do it then, or tell me where to put it.
Yes.
We had a mini council meeting. I mean, Frank was dead against advertising who's going to be doing the service. But I think a special email should go out. Like
For Danny
for
Rich.
Danny
Yeah,
Rich.
yeah, but often it was well, Danny was exactly but it was in was it not
I don't think so, but it
in
should
the
go
shut
out.
up
It should
measures
go out
mentioned
then.
Well, there's
Paul?
the real
Yeah.
I don't see why not to mention it.
No, I think we should listen. First of all, what we decide, our council's word is, this is something that's not here, and it's up to us.